We'll now move on to the main agenda. Law 3824, declarations of any disclosable peculiar interest. None? Apologies for absence. Karen? Thank you very much. 4024, to confirm the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 30th of April 2024 and the minutes of mayor making held on the 8th of May 2024. To confirm the accuracy of the minutes. All agree? Right. Thank you. Now we move on to 4124, committee meetings. Finance and personnel, 17th of October. Sorry.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'm just looking to the town clerk for the wording of the recommendation, which is ultimately what I'm presenting under those minutes. Apologies. I can't find it in my pack. Oh, that's on the screen, yes. And so this relates to the meeting held in October last year. We deferred it when it came to full council because it needed some further work. It's now in a position where it could be presented to full council as a recommendation for adoption. It essentially relates to the lease for the outside seating space that Wetherspoons use. As councillors will remember, this was introduced during COVID as an expansion of their trading space to allow additional people to access the facility. It's been incredibly popular and worked very well. And the recommendation is that the town council continue that arrangement with Wetherspoons and essentially tie it to their lease in relation to the building. Wetherspoons rent the building from Thetford Town Council, and the idea is that the outside space will form part of that main lease. So as long as they're renting the main building, they can continue to rent the outside space. They do pay rent for the outside space, and the recommendation is that rent is increased to give a much fairer return for the council, and they will also be introduced into the floral displays around the market square. I can't remember the exact figure that the council will be receiving from Wetherspoons. Sorry, there we go. So £7,500 per annum, which is a £1,500 increase, and in addition to that, the contribution for the floral displays is about £2,000, I believe. And by tying it into the main lease and not part of a licence which is renewed every year, the council doesn't incur yearly legal fees, which would have reduced the rent by about £750 because we would have to pay for the legal fees. So in total, we're, quick maths there, about £4,000 better off by this new arrangement, and something that is popular and important to the town. Wetherspoons are a major employer and provide a good service. We're supporting them, they're continuing to trade, and we're receiving rent that we can use to fund other council services. So with that in mind, just now, I'll give a bit of an overview there, as I appreciate it was last October. I'm very happy to move that recommendation.
Second, please. All in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? No? Okay. Right, move on to planning. It's the 14th of May. Excellent. Oh, sorry, Mac, because Stuart wasn't here, so.
Yeah, I'd like to, sorry. Yeah, I'd like to say that there's no decision required and all the actions were passed.
Okay.
And thank you.
Thank you very much. And then corporate services on the 21st of March, is that fact for you, sorry?
Yes, thank you very much. I want to move the minutes from the Corporate Services Committee held on the 21st of May. And there is one recommendation on page 22, which is that the issue of security at our full council meetings be discussed at full council, and you will note that it's on the agenda later this evening.
Thank you. Do I need to second that? No. Thank you very much. Right, so that's all then. Okay, 4224, Mayor's remarks and report. Well, this has been an interesting 20 days. I'm not sure if people were trying to tell me something, but My first call was the care home. Then to commemorate 40 years of St Nicholas Hospice. And then I got to open a funeral parlour. So we put all of, well, I'm not sure there's a message or it's a theme there, but they were really great. The care home's nice, but St Nick's Hospice is an awesome organisation. It's been looking after people in Thetford and Bury for 40 years. We've all had people who have gone through it. One of the other highlights was the book launch of the Book of Thetford done by the school children. That was absolutely incredible. The Carnegie Room was full of children, 7, 8, 9-year-old, who'd written this book of Thetford. And when you read it, it is really funny and well done. And whether they thought it was worthwhile, they got me to sign their books, or it seemed a bit strange to do, but there we go. Then I went to Bulldog's presentation, helped present their medals Saturday morning. It was good in the rain. He's hurt, but there we go. And then I was with Carla, and we met with the Portuguese ambassador, Consul General, on Tuesday last week. So that's not too bad for the first 20 days, is it? Thank you. Okay, 4324, report from the board of the GW Standing for Charity. Jump to the right, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We haven't had a full board meeting. Next one is scheduled for June. However, we did have a meeting regarding the leases as a subgroup, and the licenses have been issued to Bolts Club and those licenses. And the June meeting, the last standing orders policies required by the Charities Commission and the new scheme, which will report back in June.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay. 4424, Town Council reps on other bodies. Anyone?
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to report on the Safer Thetford Action Group. Recently, we had the latest Safer Neighbourhood Action Panel, which is run by the police and was conducted at Goodison Church on the 13th of May. Before that, the Safer Thetford Action Group met the week before. We looked through the issues that we thought still remained within Thetford, and we did that in order so that we could go to the SNAP meeting and campaign for what we believed Thetford deserved. And actually, at the end of that meeting, we did get what we were after, and that is the reinstatement of antisocial behaviour in the town centre and the public space protection order as the first of the priorities. We've also kept the youth antisocial behaviour within the town bounds, but also out onto some of the estates as a priority. And the last one did remain with Cranwich as a speed measure. I think it's really important that we continue to engage with the police and go to these meetings, because otherwise Thetford will be left out of it. So the proof was in the pudding. By going to it, we've campaigned for what the residents of Thetford still want. And it was clear at the meeting that we were the largest part of the police's neighbourhood, if you like. So well worth doing, and we're back on track. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Is there any update on the community speed watch you're going to look into?
Yes, there is. So we've got an active community speed watch in the town, and allied with the Safer Neighbourhood action groups, we're trying to grow that with Neighbourhood Watch. All of these things sort of marry into one nowadays, and it's a support network for the police. Actually, that is precisely what the Safer Thetford Action Group has been for a long time. It's a form of Neighbourhood Watch in another name. So yes, the speed watch is ongoing. However, and I would always make this plea, it's run by volunteers for the town, and unless you get more volunteers willing to help out, then unfortunately these things don't grow, and that's where we need to push, both from a council perspective, but also from a residents one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Councillor MacDonald? No? Okay. 4524, I'm sorry. Too close, I couldn't.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to give my apologies really for not attending the Greater Thetford Partnership meeting last Tuesday. I believe Councillor Lamb was there, but I don't think too much business was enacted. That's going to be confirmed.
Sorry, Stuart. Sorry. Okay then. Okay, reports from county and district councillors. We'll go around and take them in order. Do it. Councillor Land.
Thank you, Chair. And questions we have noticed that Brecklands received reassurance that planning officers would be available for Abbey Estate residents concerned about the impending planning application for redevelopment of their estate. Thank you.
Councillor Blackmore. David? No? Joe?
I just update on two things, if I may. Firstly, with my Norfolk County Council hat on, it's that time of the year where I seem to drive around Thetford just completely frustrated at the state of weeds in the town. Several years ago, I think it was last year, maybe a year before, Norfolk County Council took the decision to reduce the number of weed sprays that take place across Norfolk, including Thetford, from 2 down to 1. I thought 2 was quite a low number, but just 1 weed spray a year. And as a result, you can see the impact in our communities. Even more frustrating is that Thetford seems to be on the end of the weed spraying contract. Very often other areas are done first, and what that means is that our weeds are normally 6 foot tall, and then they come to weed spray, and then we're left with very unsightly looking weeds for a long period of time that fill the drains and the gullies, so it's particularly frustrating. I've been lobbying Norfolk County Council to introduce a bit of variety and allow Thetford to have its weeds tackled first. I continue to press them on that. You would have seen Thetford Town Council staff, along with volunteers, asked us to tackle some of the weeds. It's not something that we as a town council have any responsibility over. It is a county council function and to an extent a district council function. But it is something that our residents care about, and the town council is using town council staff and volunteers to help with that. But it's a big town, we can't tackle everywhere, but I'm continuing to lobby Norfolk to improve their act in relation to weeds. One of the particular hotspot areas was the bus interchange, and I'm really pleased to see the efforts that were undertaken last week that made a tremendous difference. The bus station is significantly better this week than it was last week, much cleaner and tidier. The other point I wanted to raise is around housing and homelessness. There is huge demand at Brecon Council on their housing and homelessness service. It's incredibly expensive because of the cost of living crisis, because of a number of different factors. The demand for council supported housing continues to increase. We've had incidents in Thetford recently of street homelessness, which I'm sure many people have seen. And I pressed the leader of the council last Thursday at the Brecon Council's meeting to make sure there was enough staff and resources to deal with housing and homelessness. They recognise it's a challenge, and they reassure me that there is sufficient staff, but we will know that there continues to be a major issue with this, and it's something that we will continue to monitor as Brecon councillors. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Jeremy? Yes, Mac.
Yes, if I may, please, Chair. On the weed spraying, I know that that's been cut back, but what, we haven't seen an increase in is grass cutting. And also, allied to that, when the grass cutting is done, firstly, there's no litter picking, which is really causing a problem, particularly when we do our litter groups. But also, they seem to have stopped doing strimming. So they take the easy option and drive over it with a lawnmower as quick as possible, but they will leave large areas to the side. And so this has come up at several residents' meetings, and I wonder if there's any response at all from county or district. Thank you.
Councillor Land?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. I've made a point of complaining about this in the past, in particular respect to the before cutting I've done this on more than one occasion, and each time I'll give them evidence, this pregnant. Each time I'll give them evidence of the situation, and every time I do that, I get a response saying that the work groups have assured them that they didn't pick before they actually mowed the lawn. It's not a very satisfactory response as far as I'm concerned. I think it's probably time we did it again, actually.
Mr. Jeremy?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that some years ago, Norfolk County Council, they owned a complete patchwork of various pieces of land around Thetford. Some of them are often only a few metres square. They used to use Serco to cut the grass that they were responsible for, and Serco used to cut the grass for Breckland. Because of that, it was an economy of scale, and they would quickly whiz around town, and grass cutting was significantly better than it is now. County and Breckland came to an arrangement where County are now responsible for their own land, which means that they are here less frequently because you've got Serco going around cutting Breckland land, you've got Norfolk going around cutting their land, Flagship Housing Association cut theirs, we as a town council have various bits of land that we're responsible for. So it's completely frustrating that there's not more joined up thinking between the different organisations, and that's a point that I've been making at both Breckland and Norfolk, but there definitely has been a deterioration in grass cutting over the last few years since that change in contract, and we've got to get to the point where these different organisations join forces and use one team to cut all of the grass regardless of who owns it, but there has been a noticeable deterioration in grass cutting as well as weed spraying.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'll come to you in a minute, Mike. I've got written down here before we started off with this Serco plus litter and grass cutting, and no one had even mentioned anything yet. I had a conversation with Serco operatives regarding the fact they're cutting grass and not littering. They're shredding Coke cans, they're shredding rubbish all over the place. And unbelievably, the excuse given to me was that the litter pickers don't always know where the grass cutters are. You know, it's like... So, but I'm going to have to report this again, and then I'll go from there. We'll see what happens. Right, Councillor Riddle? No, thank you. Okay, thank you very much for that. 4624, establishment of a sports council, to discuss the town council's possible support for the establishment of a sports council. I keep forgetting them. Councillor Peters to lead, please.
Thank you, Chair. I've distributed a letter for everyone to read, to save reading it all out verbatim. This isn't going to be the finished version. There is an amended version, a little bit shorter. But the purpose of my proposal is that we get all the sports clubs within Thetford to come together to form a council that is independent of the council, and that will enable the sports clubs to go for more funding and become more inclusive and maybe more attractive for people to go watch and to participate. I feel that it's essential that a sports council is formed to do that, because currently it's very disjointed. Many of the clubs operate with a great volunteer base. Obviously, like everything else, if they amalgamate, form a little council and work together, it will be more effective, they'll get more funding, they get more inclusivity. It isn't going to take any time of councillors. I do have said they would help. It's just going to be basically myself and to get clubs together and see if there is an appetite for forming the said sport council. And I'm asking for the council's support to send a letter to form that.
Does that apply to every single sports club in the town, not just the big ones? Every single sports club, right to the lowest?
Yeah, every club that participates in sport would be welcome to come. If they can put as much or as little input into it as they wish. Obviously, there would be a small committee formed from there, as I said, independent of the council. But my idea is that it would grow participation over a couple of years. It would grow participation in sport, make it more inclusive.
Okay, thank you. Okay, second. Right, could I have a proposer and a seconder, please? Oh, sorry, Councillor Land. Files away again.
Thank you. My view is that there is a real appetite for sport in Thetford, as was demonstrated by the amount of votes at the recent excellent participatory budgeting event. And I think as a council we should take notice of that. And I think we should move forward with the sports council at a good rate. Thank you, Vic.
Councillor Terry?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I would like to see our sports clubs develop and grow in our town with the Sports Council, from football to netball to tennis and hockey, rugby, boxing, cricket, athletics, swimming, and any host of other minority sports that play a part in our town. Community sport offers an excellent vehicle for councils to achieve key aims like improve public health, also as a way to build better networks, achieve stronger and more resilient communities, and develop an array of opportunities that support children, women, older people, disabled people, and the BME communities. The council provision for community sport is under threat, with about half the spending cuts to go. Discretionary spending on things like sport becomes more and more vulnerable. We believe that participation in sport supports the kind of communities we all aspire to: strong, healthy communities with deep and extensive social networks that bolster individual and community resilience. This is what councils want for their communities, but there's not always been a strong enough relationship between local sports clubs and associations and councils. I fully support this item.
Thank you. Councillor Brindle first. Sorry, Stuart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make a comment about the title of this proposed activity, sports. It's misspelt. The apostrophe should come after the S, and this is only one. And in the text, furthermore, there's no apostrophe at all. Also wrong. Can I suggest that as we all hate apostrophes but like to be correct, that we use the word sport singular, and then there will be no need for an apostrophe. So we call it the Sport Council. Just a suggestion. Yes, let's do it.
Thank you, Mr. Brindle. Councillor Wright?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I fully support this, and I just think the example of Breckland hosting our hockey club may have been something that if we had a council in place, we'd have taken this more concern with the knock-on effects that one sport may have on another. And I think by trying to get a united voice for all facilities for the town will be better. So I applaud this initiative.
Thank you very much. Just on a side note, myself and Councillor Terry do have a meeting with Tristan Ashby and Vancouver Welsh from Breckland regarding the future of sport in Thetford. Rick, did you want to apostrophise?
I apologise for that, I'm not the best, but I did say that there is an amended version. So that may want a bit of stress. I did neglect to say that the cost of this will be negligible to the council. They may apply it under the small grants fund for a small grant to set up, but everything else will be self-funded.
Any more questions? Proposer, please. No? You're going to propose this, or what?
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Brindle. All in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? No problem. Pretty sorry about this, Mike, but there's no apostrophes in this next. 4724, in principle decision on the Heritage Lottery Fund Thetford Master Plan options to discuss the various options available to the council and the next steps needed to submit a formal application in November this year. Councillor Annie Blackburn to lead, please.
Thank you, Chair. The options have all been circulated to the councillors, so I don't think you want to read them all out. But following on from that, the proposal that we think would work to go forward is following the publication of the Heritage Master Plan.
Excuse me a minute, Councillor Black, can you hear all right at the back? Can you?
Is that better?
Oh, no, it's there, right?
Right. Following the publication of the Heritage Master Plan, Thetford Town Council agrees to prioritise the repair and the reopening of St Peter's Church. This will link to a wider heritage offer in the vicinity, incorporating Charles Brolin Museum, Ancient House Museum and King's House and Gardens. Council resolves to recruit a new project manager role to drive the project forward, and this role will be incorporated into the revised staff structure proposals being led by the Corporate Service Committee.
Any questions for Councillor Blackmore, please? Sorry, any questions? Sister?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Councillor Jefferson and Councillor Blackmore and myself met to discuss these matters, and we felt that it was an opportune moment to go forward with putting a full bid together, given the positive responses we've had from Heritage Lottery Fund and Historic England in these matters. And given the lead time, we felt this was probably the earliest we could put the bid in would be for November. So I'm really supportive if we can move ahead with this. And Councillor Jefferson, I know, did some work in terms of timelines. And given the earlier question on St Peter's, I think it's very pertinent to this bid.
Yep, thank you very much. Yes, Councillor Strong.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to add on to that, how important our heritage is, we must support our museum. I'm happy to be correct on this one. St Peter's Church is one of the oldest ones we have. Again, we need to protect these. And we've got to take this massive plan forward now. We're at the point where we need to start doing it. So I fully support Councillor Blackmore's motion.
Proposer, please.
I'm
The seconder. Thank you. All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Right, 4824. Nomination to Heritage and Events Committee to note the resignation of Councillor Stuart Terry, and the call for nomination to someone to join the committee. Who's going to put this? Councillor Land?
Yeah, I nominate Councillor Jones.
Does he have a seconder? Councillor Stewart. Is there any other nominations? All in favour? Okay, anyone again? Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. 4924, community engagement.
Please then.
None of that?
Council decide, give them tonight.
Oh, sorry. Is there anything we want to put into the any media releases? Councillor Peters.
Well, obviously, my previous one, I wouldn't have released.
Sports Council, yeah? With apostrophes or without?
Sorry?
With apostrophes or without?
Either way, I don't care if you say I think, oh,
Okay, but
do that.
you're happy with that? Anything else? Committee officers update? Thank you.
There's no update.
No updates. Okay. 5124, exclusion of press or public. To consider resolving that pursuant to the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, the press and public be excluded for any remaining items of business on the grounds that publicity will be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Give these on, or shall I keep them?
Just give them up.
You're going to give them on?
I'll do it when we finish it.